It's the Daily Drama Podcast with Stephen Bradford, presented by DailyDrama.com, with our wonderful special guest, Finola Hughes. Hello, Finola.
Hello.
Are you enjoying your week off? If people don't know, General Hospital is not filming this week.
That's right. But for you guys, I put makeup on.
Oh,
Steve did too. Thank you.
Yes, no, Steve. I just have a good filter. That's all.
Oh,
it's a good
yeah.
filter.
I need to get a filter. What's going on?
It's a good filter.
No, you don't need a filter.
Hey,
well, there Finola, you go. Ooh, that's nice.
There we go. Now she can really see us. Finola,
yes.
I know we've been trying to do this for a little while because at the first time we tried to get you back for Daily Drama was because you were directing a play.
Yes. That's
so
right.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, thank you. It was right after Christmas, and it's my students from USC, and it's their MFA. It was their final kind of sojourn into the stage, and so we did The Importance of Being Earnest, and they all had to get a British accent down, and I tell you, some of them did it. Like some of them nailed it.
Yeah. Wow. So I mean, were you the dialect coach for that, or did they bring somebody else?
No, there's Lewis is there's a dialect coach at the university, so he had to do some of the heavy lifting. I mean, I kind of, I would pick them up every single day on words, but he was the one who kind of gave them, the sort of subtle details that I don't really know because I just talk like this.
How long did they have?
Oh, we started in November and we went up right after December. After the end of December.
So they had a good 6 weeks to learn.
Yeah, they had a good 6 weeks. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe Steve Homer Simpson over here might have been able to pull something off in 6 weeks. I'm not sure.
I would love to.
I'm not good at accents. But I didn't even know. So you teach?
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say you've been talking a lot about theater. You've been going to see a lot of theater recently.
Yeah, it's amazing. I just have such respect for, doing what we do. We get 1 or 2 takes with our scenes, and we really have 1 or 2 shots at something, making it really good, okay, or amazing. Right. So it's enticing to me to think that you have more time to work on just one set of material, right? Mm. Whether it's a one-man show or if it's a play, whatever it is. But then it scares me to do it 7 times a week and still make it real.
Yes, that's interesting. It gets its own reality. It gets its own reality evening by evening.
Sure.
And then there's also this piece because we were doing a comedy. So there's this specific rule with a comedy that, it's timing. It's absolute timing.
Of course.
It is bizarre to see how that works mathematically. Like if you just delay 1 second, you're going to get the laugh, and if you just blow through it the next night and you don't get it.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah,
it's really interesting. So it does have its own authenticity because it's live, and it's every night, and also it's the first time the audience is hearing it. So
true,
you have all that going for it, and also for example, the leading guy, I would love you to have seen it actually, but the leading man in the play had this real way of being physically very at ease, very relaxed. Like he, put an ashtray on his knee and he was, like smoking fake cigarettes and it made everything he said look just like he was just saying it for the first time. It was very natural.
Awesome.
So it was really interesting.
And with a heightened piece like that's incredible work. Yeah.
He really figured some stuff out. It was very interesting. And we tried to base it in reality, even though it has to be heightened. So
did you do like a contemporary take on it, or?
No, it was all in costume.
Oh, okay.
But we just, within that, because the way that the SDA, the School of Dramatic Art at USC approaches everything is that it has got to be based in your own personalization and your own kind of, so everything has to be based in reality, whatever you're doing, even if it's heightened.
Oh, so the acting technique is not
Yeah.
is oh, okay.
Yeah, that's sort of the
What
protocol.
do they call towards a teaching of sorts? I mean, a method of sorts? Do they adhere to? Is every acting teacher have to like teach this method, or is it? Do they have their own method?
No, I think the method is really, you know, to say there's a method would be doing it a disservice. But there's the two heads over there, David Warshawski and Natsuko Hama. They just have built this curriculum that's so specific to the kind of actors they're creating and help to create. And no matter what you're doing, even if it's completely presentational, that you have to be solid in your own instrument. And Natsuko has this whole sort of style of getting you into your body, like with breathing exercises and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, a lot of the kids would do that prior to every performance. They would on stage working through Natsuko's warm-up, basically. And it's just so that you're in your own body.
So yeah, you're grounded, you're centered.
Grounded, you're centered, and nothing
Makes
will
sense.
throw you.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I feel like even on our show, like we go upstairs and we're hitting the floor running. If you don't take that time, either in your dressing room or right in the wings before you come on, if you just don't take that time, or even standing, just breathing before you start, you're not authentic. I don't feel.
Without getting too much into the, oh, sorry, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Well, I was just gonna say, without getting too much into the weeds, is that what you're talking about? That physical, is that like, does it call back to Grotowski? Does it call back to Anne Bogart? Is it Alexander technique? Is it
I would say it's pulling from all of those for sure. Alexander technique, yes, for sure. I would say it's pulling from all of those.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. But you make a great point about being on our set and how things, you know, are, and obviously you've worked in daytime for a long time, so the speed has changed, right? How fast we move, how much we do, all these things. And it was interesting because Eric Braeden over at Y&R, you know, they started kind of rushing. When I went over there originally, they were still doing 3 and 4 takes. And I was like, wait, what's happening here? Like, what are we doing? Like, this is taking too long. Like, and I remember standing there with the stage manager. He's like, yeah, this is take number 5. I go, what is happening? You know,
and also, Eric, is it getting any better?
We would hope. We would hope. I mean, look, you've worked at enough film. I've been on some films where, you know, they're rolling and 6 takes in, the guy finally gets his first great take where they keep, right? So, So hopefully we do the work off camera enough to where if we were to get 5 takes, it'd be amazing.
I wonder, right? You know,
we wonder, because I'm kind of like a trained animal at this point. I'm like 1 and 2 and I'm good. But the point I was making was Eric Braeden said, hey, when we start rolling tape, that's my time. I'm not rushing. I'm not falling into this rush, because we can sometimes.
Oh, we can. I pulled Maura aside the other day. She was just going into her dressing room, and I had just been on set, and we shot 3 episodes, and I had so much dialogue in the final episode, so much. And I pulled her aside and I said, Maura, do you sometimes rush? I was like, you know, and I was saying, I just sometimes feel like I'm talking so fast. And I mean, I talk fast anyway, but I just feel like, and she just looked at me and she said, Ava doesn't rush.
That's amazing. That's
and
amazing.
I said, yes, that's it. And she goes, it's your time, just the way Eric said it.
Yeah, that's what he said.
We get caught up in the whole,
sure,
we have to get it all done.
Right.
It's sort of feeds into our dialogue, and that's not accurate at all.
No, and then the other point that you made is yeah, we feel like sometimes I feel like it too. Sometimes we're just caught in the, in the freaking hamster wheel up there going, wanting to get stuff done fast and all this, but the time before, especially if we're doing an emotional scene, right? Like we had some in the interrogation room, and they're like, "Okay, you ready? Can we go?" And I'm like, "No, just give me 5 seconds to where I can just center for that 5 seconds and go, okay, I'm good now." Right? Because there's plenty of times where you could just go and it's still going to be okay. But just taking that little bit, that 5 seconds, literally can change a scene from being okay to really good.
Isn't
that crazy though?
But because I just hearing you guys talk, like there is a pleasure in like crossing off each scene as you
100%.
accomplish it, right? Like there's something really cool about that efficiency where if you're working with a partner that is also as prepared and you just go scene, 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 and you feel the whole room kind of just like cross it off and like, hey, we're kind of in a rhythm and we're moving. And like usually the scenes are pretty good when that happens. But sometimes sometimes like the satisfaction is in the accomplishing of it, not necessarily in the doing of it. And
Yes.
and that's not necessarily great.
Yeah. No, that's not great at all, by the way.
It's true. And it's like sometimes I'll do this thing where I'll just sort of say, I'm actually doing this. And within the scene. And I'll take a moment and I'll be like, just throw your rhythm off.
Sure.
So that you're not just going line to line. And I remember this one. I remember this one. And it's like, that's like a party trick.
Yeah.
It's like try and sit in it for a minute, stew, throw yourself off, and then see what happens. Just try to break that up and be more human. I'm just gonna pull my blind down. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I love these little talks though. Like this is the stuff that a lot of people, and I know a lot of, avid fans who like the arts, because we know a lot of them who, we know a lot from our Patreon page that people who are in theater and love theater and love TV and love film. Like these are little nuances that people don't really get to hear about, because they just see the final product, but they don't know. Like when we were in Sonny's office or whatever we were, I had 27 scenes in a row.
Oh God, I remember. Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's like
and I just popped into my 5 and then
some are gonna be good and some of them are gonna be great. Like, that's just kind of what we're rolling with sometimes. But I find for me, at least when we start doing anything that's emotional, a lot of times the stuff will just come naturally. And depends on who you're working with, and what the connection is and all that stuff. But just that little 5 seconds just gives me just a little piece to get there,
this word connection, that's like key. It's just key. Like you can get all your work done just because of that.
100%. Yeah. You got to have just two partners willing to just lay it out there and be safe and trust somebody and go, hey, this is what we're doing. And, it also to be fair and honest, it's when like you're always super prepared.
You too.
I've never seen you not prepared. Like since I've known you, you're always so prepared. And when you're that prepared, great things can happen.
Yeah, because you're not grappling.
Or trying to remember. Yeah. And, it's just this whole acting thing is very interesting. I'm just starting to figure this out.
Well, it's a constant, that's what's so interesting about it, because you're constantly, even in teaching, like I'll see something that a student does and I'll be like, oh my God, I do that. Like, what's that? What is that? And then I'll put it out for them and try to sort of parse it out. And it's something, it just, you sort of feed yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Talking about teaching, And I, you've also done more directing. You directed some films as well. Is that all through SC,
I have,
or is that
no,
separate?
no.
That's all separate.
Oh, I have two of my own shorts out right now. That one just got accepted into the Atlanta Film Festival. I'm so excited.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Awesome.
And then the second one we just completed today, and it got sent off to its first festival.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
It was only completed because we were, you know, that's the thing. Like time can be your enemy also, because it's like we
Sure.
weren't in any rush, and so we were fiddling around. And like literally, I sent it off to music this week for like its fifth cue that I was like, maybe we should have some music here. So you know, you get to fiddle around, and
Right.
I think it's ready, and I'm really happy with it. So that's, so I have two of my own shorts that are out there now. That one was in collaboration with Cassandra James, who's on our show.
Oh, yeah.
And right. So and then another is in collaboration with a friend who wrote it. And so we went to Florida and shot it. Um so but then I also my students also complete their own short films through another it's another program within our program.
Yeah.
And I sort of assist on that.
Right.
And so
Cool.
it was
It's
really
awesome.
How did the teaching come about, and secondarily, how has teaching affected your own approach to your work?
lots. So to answer the first question, I was at a dinner, and it was a big fancy dinner, and I had got invited somehow.
You're a fancy person, Finola. Of course, you
It
get
was
invited to
very
fancy dinner.
fancy. It
That's
was very
funny.
fancy, and I think I went to wardrobe to borrow a dress. So
Amazing.
so I'm there sitting, and there's all these very fancy people at the table, and across from me was Sybil Shepherd, and next to her was what I learned, the dean, who is the dean of the School of Dramatic Art at USC. So I'm like, oh, I really want to talk to her. Her name's Emily Foxworthy, and she's just really amazing, actually. She's just so forward thinking, and which I was to discover. So there was a break, you know, when people sort of get up and mill around, and Emily had got up and was moved to the side. So I sort of made a beeline, and I introduced myself, and we talked for a minute. And I asked her about her program, and, you know, what she was looking for, and what she was doing within the program, and ideology of it, and the pedagogy and everything. So we just spoke. And then I just sort of, I thought, oh, go for it. I said, you know, if you ever were interested in me teaching a class or anything, you know, I'd love to come in, and I'd be or just coming in to talk about what I do, just talk to the students, blah blah blah. And she handed me her card, and so I emailed her the following week, and then she had me meet with the head of the program, which is David Warshawski, and we went for a coffee in Pasadena, and he's so great, like he's from Steppenwolf. He's like the real deal. Like he's, you know, he's been the head of this program for 16 years, and he's done every single show on television, you know, movies. And he's like that intimidating guy that's sitting there like, yeah, yeah. And no, he knows everything.
Sure.
And he's rough. Like he's, you know, he's got a shaved head, and um he does that thinking thing, which always freaks me out, because I'm
Right.
like,
What are they thinking? What are they thinking? What are they thinking? Yeah.
I try never to look like I'm thinking. I'm just like, who does this whole thinking thing, you know, like Steve's doing right now, you know.
Yeah.
And so I didn't hear from him like the following week or anything. I was like, oh well, I guess, you know, whatever. But then so I thought, well, I'll email him and say, you know, it was really nice to meet you, and had you had any more thoughts? And he's like, yeah, what kind of class do you want to, the class is yours. What do you want to create? What do you want to make? And I was like, what do I want to make?
Oh, wow.
And so I said, well, let's do performance for camera. Let's do that. And we'll just talk about, you know, because he had said what the kids need, because they do a lot of theater. We really need to get on top of camera. And it's not just about auditioning, and it's not just about,
Sure.
you know, and a lot of what students get taught at the end is how you do your own reel, and how you, it's not, it's, so I just made this very in-depth curriculum, and we start from the beginning. And now in the second semester, we do genres. So we go into talk about
Wow.
questions, and, you know,
That's
Wow,
awesome.
that's cool.
That's fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
To
So
think about,
is it all year?
Yeah, I do 2 semesters. Yeah,
Wow. Great.
but
yeah.
in order to come up with a curriculum, you have to clarify what it is
But I believe,
correct. And that
yeah,
is something not everybody has the opportunity to do because you don't,
right.
yeah. So what was that like?
Okay, so I was at my brother's in England. So this is 2 years ago because I started 2 years ago. I'm at my brother's in England, sitting at his kitchen like counter with my laptop, pulling my hair out, and
Yeah.
I was just, I looked at what they were doing, you know, at SDA, and I first of all, I think I called it uh acting in the nude, like naked acting, like something like that.
Right.
So I was stripping it away, you know, just stripping it
It's like
away.
acting class in Van Nuys.
Is that right? Close up?
No, don't even ask Finola.
Okay, fine.
He's got problems.
No, I know that. I mean,
No, come on.
yeah.
We know that.
So, but you have done a lot of theater, Bradford, and you know all these sort of incredible musicals. You've got this amazing voice and blah blah blah, you know, and your wife is just so in depth with everything, and you know,
Well, and that's why I asked you is because she came up with a curriculum for a high school acting program, and like I it's incredibly challenging. Well, like in high school, you have to get it UC approved too. Like you have to submit it for approval. So, but I like curious, and but at the time she wasn't performing as much as you do. So, like thinking about how that clarifying that. I imagine like when you go back on set after you clarified a little bit, you're like, oh, am I doing what I'm telling my kids I should be doing? Am I like did it make you more of a disciplined actor? Do you know what I'm saying? Did you go back into a process based mode versus or I don't know. Like I just curious about that.
it's a bit of both. It's a hybrid. It's
Yeah.
like for a little while, I just continued to steamroll through, you know, and then suddenly, if I'm pulling people up in class, and I'm like, you know, just, and then I think about myself when I go to, you know, go to work, and I try not to be self-conscious, which is why I don't watch a lot of. I watch some scenes, and I try to see the show sometimes, but
Yeah.
I just try to be careful about you know how aware I get of it because I
Mm.
feel like there's such great beauty. I'm always saying to actors, you don't have to favor the camera. We
Mm.
have to on our show.
Sure.
They want that, but I'm like, let the camera come to you, let the camera find you. Like,
Mm.
you know, don't just be like have your back to the camera and do something, and then let because once they see what you're doing, because I'm sort of gearing them towards film, but
Yeah.
then I
Sure.
also like right now we're doing procedural in class. So I'm like, this is your meat and potatoes. This is, you know, you need to be able to nail this. How do you make dry dialogue interesting? What do you do? So anyway,
That
it's
yeah.
yeah, it's all
That
very private.
yeah. Well, that's interesting. Talking about how we play to the camera a little bit on our show versus other genres where you don't have to.
That's
And
true. Yeah.
I was doing an episode of Homeland, and they had a really long they were super far away from me, so I thought it was a pretty wide shot.
Oh no, they were on long lens.
They were on a long lens, and I was supposed to. I had set somebody up, so they were going to get in trouble, and I was witnessing them get in trouble. And so I was like face on being like, and they're like, cut, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Bring it down.
Yeah.
Less is more, buddy.
Yeah, man. Oh gosh.
That's funny.
Yeah. So anyway, to give people an idea of what we mean by playing the camera versus camera finding you. But speaking of GH,
Yeah.
you guys had this great.
Michael Easton is really good at turning his back towards the camera and being like he tries to mess it up a little bit, doesn't he?
Yes.
And when I used to be in scenes with him, I'd be like, "Oh, I'm standing like Barbie doll right now."
Well, and he tries to throw his voice over there too.
He
Yeah.
does.
Hide his
He
voice.
tries to throw his voice to me.
Yeah, it's funny.
So you guys had this great stuff on Monday. My first question is, how come the USB and FBI don't share information here?
The WSB?
Yeah, isn't that how come isn't there intelligence sharing with,
WSB, yeah.
or USB, not USB,
Yeah,
WSB, sorry.
USB. Isn't that something you plug in?
Right,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah, that's Jackal talk. We need
Yeah,
the
it's right,
WSB. Yeah.
How come there's no information sharing between the intelligence agencies there?
Yeah, good question.
Oh,
We're on a soap opera. That's why, Bradford.
Well, because it doesn't, I would assume the WSB has like, I mean, they're an international agency
They're
versus the
international, yeah.
FBI.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah. I think that's where that's where some of the secrecy, the secrecy is going to be coming in and getting blown up a little bit.
and so
Correct,
maybe
yeah.
maybe
There's some-
Agent Cates is not working like on the level.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
not sure. There's some unknowns coming, so we'll figure that out. But
Yeah.
it's been a fun story to play for sure.
I
There's
really
a lot
like it.
lot
Yeah.
of layers to it. It's been excellent stuff to be back with for sure.
Yeah.
So
And you're
Yeah.
so good at it, Steve. It's really great.
thank
Like,
you.
yeah. Really cool.
I'm still trying. I'm still trying.
Man, I swear to God, I never stop learning.
Well, but also speaking of
Sure.
what's happening now, Anna's single right now.
Right.
Right? Any
Back
lines
of the
on?
Valentine.
Yeah.
Oh, it was
well,
Valentine. There was a big breakup with Valentine. Is that what happened?
Yeah, there was a big breakup. Yeah.
Ooh.
Right before you.
What was the breakup for?
well, and
Well,
you guys were a big deal.
Yeah, it was really great. But I think once people get together, then the next thing that everybody's excited for is how do they
There's
break
the
up?
breakup.
I
Yeah.
know.
There's only one way to go. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I know.
But once you break
And I-
up, then you can.
Get back together again.
That's right. That's right.
And I know James was kind of waiting on his other show too to be picked up or not picked up. I know there was a
Right.
little bit of limbo there, so I don't
Yeah.
think it got picked up from what I heard.
No, I don't believe so. No. I don't
So maybe he'll be back more.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I think so. I think he will be back. And then we'll see. I think there's actually a lot of interesting. I think we're going to be going through finding out who certain people are that are coming on
yes,
canvas, like John
yes,
Tate and Jack Brennan, and where do they all fit in? And I think
Yeah.
somewhere
you-
down the line it's going to
and
be.
you got Pikeman and what their real
Right.
motives are, and you got Jagger obviously, and then
Pikeman has not been
WSB,
seen on
so
screen. Is that true or no?
Well,
Pikeman
Pikeman
is a company.
organization.
It's a company.
It's not a person.
It's not a person.
No.
Who is
No.
Jack Brennan that you mentioned? I don't know that character.
Well, that's a sort of throwback to perhaps back in the day at WSB. And he just came on the canvas briefly. But nobody knows if he's good. I got him put in prison, so he's out the way right
Yeah.
now. But John Cates is definitely FBI. And I'm not even WSB anymore.
Okay. But that's
They
your
took my-
roots.
They
Yeah.
took my badge away.
What?
Yeah.
Impropriety?
Sorry, yeah.
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 Impropriety. What'd you do? I forget.
Double agent back in the day.
Maybe.
No big,
Yeah.
just selling secrets.
No big
Nice.
deal.
A little
No, you're fine.
espionage. Amazing.
Yeah, that's super common now. So you should get your badge back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now I'm police commissioner because
There you go.
Oh, great. Okay, great.
Oh, so you can be a
Um,
double agent and get caught for it, and then be police commissioner. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
amazing actually.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, a couple questions from our friends at Daily Drama to kind of wrap us up here. Just so it doesn't seem like I'm doing non sequiturs. Yeah. So is there a storyline that over the years is like kept close to your heart, like one that like storyline that that you kind of cherish from your years?
Yes, I think I really love, we did back in the 80s, we did this thing, it was called the Asian storyline, and I really loved that. We had some extraordinary actors that came on the canvas for they were there. Some of them stayed actually, and they came on from probably 6 to 8 months, maybe a year. And we just did this huge storyline about this the kind of, I guess it was like the triad maybe,
Oh,
you know,
okay, yeah.
a little bit like that. And my daughter, Kimberly,
Oh,
was,
came out of that storyline?
yeah, no, she was already in the show.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah,
She
yeah.
was kidnapped. So and we went to Vancouver to up there to Vancouver to shoot the sort of,
Wow.
yeah, we went to shoot the
Super
end
cool.
when we find her
The
and
running.
the running scene, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
That's
think
so
that,
awesome.
was just it was kind of an epic moment, I think.
Iconic.
Sure.
Let's go there.
Yeah,
Iconic. Yeah.
Yes, it is iconic for
Oh,
sure.
it was just for me, and we got to work with these really great, like just really cool theater and movie actors that came to do the show. And it was sort of next level in a little way. They were just so experienced, and
Mm,
it was really lovely. Yeah.
that's
Lovely.
awesome.
Yeah.
Mm.
Awesome. So if you could pick your next romantic storyline, I know sometimes we don't want to answer.
Romantic.
Yeah, I mean, is revisiting the Valentine thing something that is appeals
I really enjoy working with him. I think
unfinished business there, maybe?
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I shot his teenage daughter.
And that didn't break you guys up?
That's what broke us up.
Oh,
Oh,
okay,
that's what broke us. Okay,
reasonable.
good. So, all right.
You
So
think?
Valentine does have some hope.
Is she
left in
okay?
them.
She's fine.
She's
What's
fine.
the problem?
Yeah. She didn't know. She just, somebody, it was an
I
intruder.
didn't
It was
know.
dark.
I walked
She
into
just,
a room. It was dark, and
yeah.
I thought I was being followed. And
Yeah.
she had a hood on and was holding a flashlight, and it was all in
Mm,
terrible.
yes.
And it really got
Terrible.
it. And Anna was floored by it. Right.
Yeah.
Which kid is this?
Charlotte,
Oh,
Charlotte.
Valentine's daughter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. This is from one of our friends at Daily Drama that he's curious your opinion of the new adaptation of Cats. The movie, yeah. And he also says that if you don't reply honestly, he understands because you're a lady.
I'm not going to reply honestly.
And thank you so much, Finola Hughes, for joining us today. That's awesome.
All right. Well, it is such a delight to visit with you as always. And thank you for
Always,
making
yeah.
the time for us.
Not at all. It's a lot of fun always.
Thank you, Finola. See you
Thank
next
you.
week.
That's
See you
right.
next
That's
week.
right.
All
Bye,
right.
guys.